Welcome dear students, this is our fifth segment of carbohydrates, and in this segment we will be discussing what is the biological significance of disaccharides. Since we have completed monosaccharides, now we will see what is the biological significance of disaccharides. When we go for the disaccharides, disaccharide is a sugar which is made up of two monosaccharide units. Of course, it is made up of two monosaccharide units. For example, if I will talk of three sugars which are very important and have a role in our day-to-day life, one is the maltose. There are three sugars which are very important. One is the maltose. Routinely we are using them in our foods and in our daily life. One is the maltose, second is your lactose, which we call as milk sugar, and third we have which we call as sucrose. These are the three important disaccharides. We use it routinely in our daily foods. And the first thing I told you is the maltose. Maltose is a disaccharide made up of two glucose units. It is made up of two glucose units. I mean to say it is glucose and glucose. Similarly, lactose is a disaccharide made up of glucose and galactose. And the third thing which we have is the sucrose. Sucrose is made up of glucose and fructose. These are the three sugars, and these are the constituent monosaccharide units of these sugars. And let me take them one by one. Before that, I have already discussed reducing sugars. What are reducing sugars? Those who can reduce Cu plus 2 to Cu plus 1 are said to be as reducing sugars. And at the same time, I have pointed one more thing. Any sugar which has a free functional group, which has a free anomeric carbon, is considered to be a reducing sugar. And among monosaccharides, all monosaccharides are reducing sugars. So far as disaccharides are concerned, you have maltose. It is I can say reducing sugar. It is a reducing sugar. Similarly, we have lactose. Again, it is also a reducing sugar. And third, we have which we call as sucrose. It is a non-reducing sugar. Non-reducing sugar, which indicates the anomeric carbon in case of sucrose should not be free. And we will see this when we will draw the structures of these monosaccharides. Let's take them one by one. First of all, let's start with the maltose. And maltose is made up of glucose and glucose. If I will see the ring structure of glucose, I can write glucose is stable in pyramidal form. And suppose this is our glucose. Here it is. We have alpha D glucose. So OH here, OH here, OH here, and CH2OH here. This is alpha D glucose. Alright. It will be binding with another molecule of glucose. And both the two glucose units are in alpha form. Both the two have alpha carbon. It is hydrogen here. Again, one more glucose, hydroxyl group in hydroxyl group here, and here it is CH2OH, right? These are the two glucose units, and this unit is also known as alpha D glucose. Now see what we have at the other portions. We have H, here we have H, and H, and H. Similarly, H, and H. When the carbohydrate monosaccharides are joining with each other, when the monomeric units are joining with each other, there is establishment of a linkage which we known as glycosidic bond. So, for the mixing of alpha D glucose with another alpha D glucose and forming a disaccharide, which we call as maltose, they have to bind with each other, they have to show condensation, and in this condensation process there is a removal of water molecule. So here, when they will bind, there will be removal of water molecule, and we will call this reaction as condensation. And during this condensation, the two glucose units will bind, and the linkage so established is known as glycosidic bond. Glycosidic bond. So glycosidic linkage, glycosidic bond and glycosidic linkage is established when the two monosaccharides units are joined to each other, or this glycosidic linkage is established when other disaccharides are formed, when trisaccharides are formed, when all oligosaccharides are formed, when all polysaccharides are formed. So it means the linkage between the monomeric units of polysaccharides is the glycosidic bond. Okay, what will happen here? This OH and OH will go this way, this OH and H will go, and the structure will be just like this, and the structure will be just like this. I will show you how will be the structure. I will write here. This will be the structure. This is glucose. Alright, here we have H, and the O is common between the two. O is common between the two. Then we have this thing. The O is common. Here we have H and here we have H, and it is CH2OH. This is H. This is OH. This is OH. This is OH. Here it is O. And here we have all the groups same OH. We have OH. We have OH and CH2OH. If I want to name this is here, it is here, what is this? This is alpha D, gluco. In this form, in which form the glucose is? It is in the pyranosic form. So I will say it is alpha D gluco, pyranosyl, and the linkage is, this is carbon number 1 and 4. The linkage is between 1 and 4. So there is 1-4, 1 arrow 4 glycosidic linkage between this and this. 1, 4. Again, what is the name of this glucose unit? It is alpha D glucopyranoside. So I can write it in this way. And otherwise, I can say this is simply maltose. This is maltose. So maltose is alpha D glucopyranosyl 1,4 alpha D glucopyranoside, and I will call it as maltose. Whenever you have to draw the structure of maltose, you can remember it this way. You have to put glucose here, you have to put glucose here. The linkage is 1,4. All of them are alpha. So the glycosidic linkage in this is alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkage. You can make it, you know the structure, you can try it also. What is the biological significance of maltose? We know that this maltose is known as malt sugar because this has been obtained from the malted grains of barley. So we call it as malt sugar, and we have obtained it from the malted grains of barley. And these malted carbohydrates are used for making the beverages. And one more thing which is very important, I must tell you, as compared to glucose and other sugars, you do not have a specific function in the body. But maltose is preferred sugar. I can say it's a preferred, not sugar, but a disaccharide in the baby food because it can be easily digested. One thing which is very advantageous about the maltose is that you can digest it very easily. So we can put this maltose in baby foods. We can add this as a supplement in both baby foods. And one more thing, there is an alcohol of this maltose which we call as maltolol. Alcohol of this maltose is known as maltolol. This is the alcoholic product of maltose. This maltolol is 60% absorbed in the body, and it is absorbed slowly, and 60% of it is absorbed. The rest of it goes into the intestines and it is excreted out, or it may be fermented by the intestinal microbes. So this maltolol has a significance. It is used as a sweetener. It can be used as a sweetener in chocolates, in chewing gums, in medical, I can say, medical supplies, like we have syrups, we can use it as a sweetener there. Or this maltolol is also can be used as a sweetener for the diabetic foods. The second disaccharide which we have is the lactose, which we call as milk sugar, popularly known as milk sugar, because it is the sugar which is present in milk. And this lactose is made up of two things. One is the glucose and second is the galactose, and is a reducing sugar. We will see that at the last. Is a reducing sugar. Okay, when I have to discuss this this structure of lactose, since it is made up of galactose and glucose, you remember for all the times to come, the structure is like this. We have a galactose and we have glucose, right? The linkage is 1,4. This is also in beta form. This is also in beta form. This way we can write. It is beta galactose, alpha 1,4 glycosidic bond, and beta glucose. Or I can write in this way. Suppose I have to make galactose here. This is galactose. This is a galactose. For example, this is a galactose. Here we have a glucose. Here we have a glucose. Alright. And the glucose as well as galactose in beta form. So that means OH is here. Right? This is glucose, OH here, OH here, OH here, and this is CH2OH, CH2OH, this is beta glucose. Alright, I will go here. This is also in the beta form, galactose. It is 2, it is 3, and 4 here, and it is CH2OH. What is this? This is beta galactose. We have beta galactose here, beta glucose here, right? And you know the difference why we have at carbon number 4 we have a difference. OH is on this side and OH is on the upper side. That is the difference between glucose and galactose. Now what we need to do, we have to establish a linkage between galactose and glucose, and the type of linkage is glycosidic, obviously, and the positions which are involved is 1 and 4. Now see, 1 is here, 1 is this. And this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. That means this type of glycoside bond will be formed here. And in this case, we have H and H. Here this OH and H will go because it is condensation. There will be removal of molecule of water, and this is a condensation reaction. And after this condensation, what we are expected to get, we are expected to get a structure like this. This is O, alright. This is the galactose. Fine. Here we have H, and here we have a common O between this and this. Between this and this. See, here we have a common O between this and this, right? And then we have H, it says to OH here, we have OH here, we have OH on this side, we have OH on this side, and here also we have OH here, we have OH inside, OH on this side, and this will be CH2OH, right? So we can say this is beta D galactopyrenosyl. This is beta in the form of beta. We have galactose in the form of beta D galactopyrenosyl. The linkage is 1 and 4, then beta D glucopyrenoside. This is the structural formula of galactose, of this lactose, right? Now let us see this. I told you lactose is a reducing sugar. Let me make it clear here. Also, we have discussed one more sugar which we call as maltose. That is also a reducing sugar. I told you any sugar which has any anomeric carbon or functional group free is said to be a reducing sugar. But here, in this case, we have anomeric carbon at position number 1 for this galactose, and we have anomeric carbon at position number 1 for this glucose, right? When they have not binded, when they were used as a monosaccharides, this was also free and this was also free. So I will say both the two will be reducing sugars before. Both the two will be reducing sugars. Galactose individually is a reducing sugar. Glucose individually is a reducing sugar. Once they have made a binding, once they have made an association by way of glycosidic linkage, the anomeric carbon which is present at the position number 1 of this galactose is now fused, is not available, is not free, is now fused with the position number 4 of the glucose. So if we will go to this carbon, if we will go to this anomeric carbon, it is bound. Here we cannot say it is a reducing. We cannot say it is a reducing sugar. But let us go to the another form. Let us go to the another anomeric carbon. Let's here. This anomeric carbon is free. This anomeric carbon is free. So we can say this is a reducing sugar because it has one anomeric carbon free. Even in polysaccharides, we see there is the last anomeric carbon which is free. All the rest of the monosaccharide, all the in polysaccharides, all the monosaccharides are bound to each other. So the functional groups, anomeric carbons, are also completely bounded to each other. There is no anomeric carbon free except to the last, except to the right side of the polysaccharide, where you will find the anomeric carbon is free. One anomeric carbon will be free. I will call it as a reducing sugar because this has a tendency to reduce the things. And while in this case we have also one anomeric carbon which is free and one anomeric carbon which is not free. So therefore we can say presence of one free carbon, anomeric carbon, will make it as a reducing sugar, and it will also make maltose as a reducing sugar. But what is the case of lactose? We have to see it because that's going to be a non-reducing sugar. Then, what is the significance of this lactose? It is the sole source of carbohydrate in neonates. If you see, lactose is present in milk and we consider this as a milk sugar. So it is a lone source of carbohydrate in neonates. What neonates take? They take milk. It contains protein, calcium, phosphorus, and so many things, and carbohydrate also. And the carbohydrate present in the milk is the lactose. So it is the sole source of carbohydrate in neonates. One. Second thing, this lactose is involved has a small role in the absorption of calcium and zinc. It has some role in the absorption of calcium and zinc. This is also one of the roles which is suggested for this lactose. And one more point is that third thing which we have, this lactose is the source of galactose. It is the source of galactose. We are getting galactose from the lactose. And this galactose is essential for brain development in childhood. This is responsible for brain development. We require this for the brain development. And one more thing, we have soft curd formation. I will tell you one thing. We are trying to make, we know the best milk for a child is the mother's milk. We understand this. We have the mother's milk, that's the best milk. And mother's milk is considered as best as compared to the cow milk because it is responsible for the formation of soft curd. Mother's milk is the entity which is forming soft curd, and this soft curd is very good for the health of the baby. Now the question is why the mother's milk is the better milk as compared to the cow milk. If we make a comparison between mother's milk and cow milk, we will scrutinize two things. One is the lactose and second is the casein, protein casein. Let me tell you, we will see two things. One is the lactose and second is the casein, that is the protein. In case of mother's milk, or we can say human milk, and in case of cow milk. The lactose, the percentage of lactose which we have is 6.8 percentage of lactose in human milk, and here in cow milk it is 4.8. The casein in case of human milk is 0.9%, and here it is 2.7%. Any milk which has two things. One is high percentage of sugar, and low percentage of protein is responsible for the formation of soft curd. Soft curd will be formed more easily by a milk having the high percentage of lactose, sugar, and having the low percentage of the protein. If we will see the content of the lactose in human milk, it is 6.8. In cow milk, it is just 4.8. So human milk has high percentage of sugar, that is lactose, and human milk has low percentage of protein, and it is responsible for soft curd formation. This is one thing which we look at, and this lactose also helps in the formation of soft curd, right? And you might have heard one abnormal thing which we call as lactose intolerance. You will be seeing in old aged adults, those who are old aged, you have seen they are usually not taking the milk, because this milk creates a type of intolerance which we call lactose intolerance. Because this milk, because of the deficiency of enzyme which we call as lactase, that is age related. Lactase is not there, and lactose cannot be digested. It goes to the large intestines, it goes to the colon, and where the colon bacteria converts it into the gases like carbon dioxide, hydrogen, and methane, and these gases cause flatulence, they cause abdominal cramps, diarrhea, uneasiness. Therefore we say the remedy for such I can say adults or such aged persons is to take the curd that where the lactose is fermented, but not the whole milk. The third sugar, the third disaccharide which we are going to discuss is the sucrose. Again, it's a disaccharide made up of glucose and fructose. Here, and it is a non-reducing sugar. We have discussed these things already. And how we can derive? The glucose is in alpha form. It is alpha glucose. The glycosidic linkage is 1, 2. And here the fructose is in beta form. It is beta fructose. This way we can design the structure of this. For example, this is alpha glucose here. This is the alpha glucose. I can write this way. This is my alpha glucose. Pyranosic structure we have, and alpha glucose means hydroxyl group is here. Hydroxyl group is here, and here, and we have CH2OH. This is alpha D glucose. All right, and we have to make the fructose and beta form there too. For example, we have the fructose here. This is the fructose. Okay, and alpha, we have beta fructose, OH is on this side. Here we must be having CH2OH. All right, this is 1 and this is 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And this is 1 and 2. This is 3. 3 we have this way. 4 we have this way. And 5 we have this way. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, CH2OH, and here we have H, right? So when we see this is the structure of fructose, and we will see this is, I can write it is beta D fructose, all right? Where is the anomeric carbon? It is here in case of glucose. Where is the anomeric carbon in case of fructose? It is here too. And I told you the glycosidic linkage is between 1 and 2. Between 1 and 2. It means here we will be removing this and this. This will go hydroxyl and the hydroxyl group here, and H will go from this. Therefore, what we will get, we'll be having a common O between the two. That is what we call as a sucrose. But one thing you have to take care, if I can name it, I can write it this way. We have glucose first, alpha D glucopyrinosyl, because it is in pyrinosyl form, and 1, 2, beta D fructofuranoside. This is the structure of sucrose. Sucrose is a non-reducing sugar. It means all the anomeric carbons should be busy, should not be free. No, there should be no any anomeric carbon which is going to be free. So here if we see, in this case we have anomeric carbon at position number 1, it is bound. We have anomeric carbon at position number 2, it is also bound. Therefore, there is no anomeric carbon which is free. In case of sucrose, we can call it as a non-reducing sugar. It has no capability to reduce the Cu plus 2 to Cu plus 1, right? And one more thing I can tell you, that is this sucrose is also known as, sometimes we call it as table sugar. And this sucrose we can use, we can give it to the infants in order to reduce the procedural pain and other things. So that's all about the disaccharides. Thank you very much for watching the video.